You were also responsible for the rugby ground
Yes.
at Headingley as well. So what was the remit behind that? I know Alf Davies was in charge in those days.
Yes, Alf was in charge of those. Yes, I took the job on at Headingley way back in the 78 that I would do on both parts. And in those days we used to just play rugby on a Saturday afternoon. And there was very little cricket played, so a lot of my effort was done on the rugby league side. And as the increasing cricket, I got less and less to do with the rugby side. And then we had a change where rugby got changed onto Sundays, the workload got big, and we started to bring extra groundsmen in to do it. So we split. I looked after the cricket primarily with one of my lads, look assistant, and Norman, I went to meet at Halifax. He was the Halifax football groundsman. I got him employed on the rugby league ground. He got an assistant, and that's how we worked. And we carried on like that. But then what happened later on was that I lost Norman. I lost Norman, and I lost his assistant, George Graham, the football manager at Ellen Road. He came along looking for ground staff, offered him a good salary, and of course they both left me. Now I'm left now without a groundsman. And Alf Davies said to me, look at Keith, what I want you to do now, you are back here now, and I want you to find me a head groundsman, someone to take over. Well, I had the two lads I could take. It was Ian Barber, good lad, good cricket brain, but he wasn't interested in rugby, he wasn't a man. The other lad, Chris Dury, I believe he's at Featherstone now.
Yeah.
Chris, I didn't feel came up to the scratch at the time, so I was left pondering it. I was back doing it all myself. And then as this guy came into my mind, this Jason Booth, who had worked with me when he was in the academy section, I contacted Jason, and here we are. Jason came along, and within a very short period of time, I knew this guy was special. And I was able to go back to Alf Davies and say, look at Alf, I found you, man. I found you, man. And then I said the rest, as regards Jason, the rest is history.
Kind words, Keith. So when did you actually finish? What year did you finish on the cricket side?
I finished on the cricket side in 95.
Yeah.
95 was a difficult year for me. My wife, we had always intended retiring at the end of 95, but sadly at the Easter of 95, my wife developed cancer, and it got very aggressive. And following tests that we had done, she was given only a few months to live. And that made it difficult for me because I was trying to look after her. I was trying to do the ground as well.
It was a build-up to a test match as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had the test match coming up, and then I was going to the work on a morning and coming back, the lads were taking, etc., etc. And then it got to Whit Monday, and I went back down after work, and my wife didn't look very well. Worse than what you know in one situation. And I said to her, look, I've got to get you to hospital. No, she said, it's Whit Monday, don't trouble people on Whit Mondays. It's their day off as well as anybody else. Well, sadly, I got her to hospital and she died in that evening. The following day, Yorkshire had the Benson Hedges match at Headingley. And this Benson Hedges match was played and Yorkshire got beat. But what disappointed me was that the chief executive, Hassel,
Chris Hassel.
He made his point of letting everyone know, the press, lords, etc., about the state of this pitch. And I took some hammer for it. I wasn't very happy about. The umpires marked the pitch above average. Following this match, we also had the test match coming up versus the West Indies. Was going to be my final test match. He made it known to the company and to Lords that he didn't think I was in a fit state to prepare the test pitch. I was approached, that was kicked into touch. I did the test pitch. I was going to do the test pitch. And I set on and I did the test pitch, and the test pitch came out with top quality marks. He got 4 out of 5 for pace, but the highest marks possible for that test pitch. And that was going to be my last test pitch. And if I have one regret today, it's the fact that my wife did not live long enough to see what we'd both worked so hard for at Headingley, Middlesbrough and Gisborough for all those years.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. But whilst everybody talk about Headingley as being a results stadium, results pitch, every test match lasted 4 days.
Everyone.
Every single one lasted 4 days. Every county match,
3
days in the 3 days.
The 4 days. Yeah, it was strange really, because I looked back at my test matches. I had 17 test matches. I had 14 results, 3 draws, and each of the result matches there was always decent amount of cricket on the 4th day. There weren't just 4 days. There were generally 4. Okay, I had a bit of help with the weather at times, but they were all very interesting test matches. And the county matches, yes, they all went to 3 days, because what I'd learnt in Leadway, in the mid-80s, I decided I was going to buy myself a little moisture meter, and I was going to do some work. I was going to probe this moisture meter into the pitch to see if I could work out what was the best moisture level to have on the first morning of a match. And this is what I did. And what I found out, that if I had a little bit of moisture in the surface, not too noticeable, there was a little bit there, you had the players, the boys and the gooches could go out and they could play on it. Sun was out. In the afternoon, they filled the boots. The 2nd day was a good day. The 3rd day was okay. Got to the end of the 4th day and the 5th day, they started to get a little bit uneven. If I got that moisture meter wrong, and I had it too dry like the Australia pitch, and then we had difficulty getting over the 5th day. If I had it too wet, you could lose 4 on the first morning.
So Keith, you've left Headingley, you end up a little place up the road called New Rover Cricket Club.
That's right. I'd been involved with New Rover in giving them advice right from the day that they constructed the ground. That was in the late 90s. And I just kept an eye on them, giving a bit of advice here and there, particularly on the lane of the square. And yes, when I finished with Headingley, I got the opportunity then of going to Rover and spending more time on it. And I spent 2 years, there were only Dales League cricket at this time. They were playing in the Dales League at New Rover, and new ground, and I got stuck into it at New Rover. And within 2 years, Jason, I had county standard pitches, and the Yorkshire Cricket Club noticed this. They said, hang on a minute, what's Boyce got up the road there? So Stevie Oldham comes up, has a look at a couple of pitches. He said, wow, this is where we want to be. So the academy moved lock, stock and barrel from Park Avenue. We are going to New Rover. So they ended up at New Rover playing on my pitches.
But it wasn't only academy that came up to use the pitches.
That's right. Well, what happened then was, because of the standard of the pitches, that they started to bring visiting international sides. The Delhi Blues, well, the Delhi Blues are top Indian side. Yeah. Australia Academy came along and they played. There were test cricketers coming on to play on the ground. And we had many of the visiting touring sides always wanted to play Yorkshire whenever they came. Always wanted to play at New Rover.
But there's a Yorkshire player that went on to be England captain that made it a point of always coming to practice at New Rover.
That's right. Yes, we had Vaughan used to.
Michael Vaughan.
Yeah, he came along, did Michael. It was when he was captain, he was having a bit of a bad run. He wanted to be away from the media and the press, and I set him up with a net in the square. And Duncan Fletcher was the manager, and they used to use the bowling machine hours and hours and hours. I just used to change out the little corridor so they could keep bowling. And yes, it was good. We also had the England test team came up. They came and did pre-test match practice at New Rover. So
I came and watched some of the sessions.
No, it was an easy pitch to look after, really. It was one of those pitches where I've always believed that, as regards making cricket pitches, if you've got a decent depth of soil on a good base, that will grow grassroots, and then as long as you do your work honestly in the spring and the summer, really, if you get them dry, you've got to vandalise them to make bad ones. That's my opinion. And on the club that we're playing on at the moment, it's the Erin Wharfdale League, which is, again, a senior league. But in fairness, the surfaces are so hard they don't really do any damage to them.
60 years in retiring, how do you think groundsmanship's changed over those years?
Well, it's changed in some ways. Basically, as I've been saying, that if we've got the right ingredients, and then we should be able to make pitches. What has changed is the type of grasses we used. Way back 60 years ago, there was a lot of fescues and bents we used in the cricket pitches, because we talked earlier on about using this type of dope pitches, and that was the type of surfaces that want the fine grasses. But when they start to introduce the heavier soils, these fine grasses wouldn't grow. So we started to bring in the perennial rye grasses to be used, very coarse growing perennial grass in the 70s. But over the years, that has developed the species of perennial ryegrass now. Is unbelievable. I use it now on my square, and to be honest with you, it looks like fescues. It's so neat and tidy. It'll withstand. You can dry a pitch out now with using these perennial ryegrasses, and you can consistently give them a splash of water now and again, but they'll last. Where the old perennial ryegrass, one match and they finished, the grass had no growing back. So the grass has been a big difference. And the other way, a big improvement I see, is the wicket end repairs.
Yep.
So we can play more cricket per pitch. We go back to the day when I started, we used to have a turf nursery, which was very similar to the square itself. And what we would do, our matches, they used to dig a crater. It would boom, boom, boom along the popping crease. But at the end of the match, we had to go to this turf nursery. We used to dig the turfs out and put turfs in, tidy it up around the turfs, a little bit above the thing, roll it down. And those are out. These days, we don't do that. These days, we get the soils now that's available. We put those into wicket ends. And to be honest with you now, you can play a 5-day match now, and the virtually don't damage the bowling areas. It's unbelievable.
So you've seen many a groundsman come through your hands from young and then go on to other things. What do you think has changed in the type of person that's in the modern day groundsman? What do you think are the key areas that have changed?
Well, obviously I'm not involved with so much closely involved with the present day professional groundsman, but what I do notice, and what you seem to sit back and be able to look at it, is the emphasis. They're under a lot of more pressure these days, these groundsmen are, than what we used to be on. I think the groundsman these days, the focus is on him all the time for doing this. It's easy to hear cricketers complaining about the pitch because they aren't scoring runs, and they have the presentation they always have to have right. So I think the groundsmen these days are under a lot more pressure to have, the little bits better than what we used to do.
They're on TV a lot now, aren't they? That's the big
Absolutely.
thing. TV,
Absolutely.
constantly, social media.
Yep.
People can take a little video, put it out on social media.
And you see the presentation of pitches and the grounds alone, they have to have it now because the sponsor wants that. You'll get a sponsor take a group of people to a test match, and they'll go back from the test match and say, "Oh, went to Lords, it looked absolutely immaculate." They don't understand cricket, but it was what they saw. It was a picture they saw. You can have the best cricket pitch around, and if the surrounds are untidy, they'll say, "Oh, bloody Headingley's going back."
Yeah, it's a brand now. It's part of the product. It's part of the product. Is aesthetically what the facility looks like.
I don't think I'd like to step
like.
back into the big time now. No way.
No. So, Keith, on behalf of the Institute of Groundsmanship, IOG, I'd like to present you this award for 60 years in groundsmanship. I think you've been a pioneer, a father at times, a mentor, all those things to me, and God bless you, and all the best of luck in your long and hard-earned and well-deserved retirement.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much. Thank you.